Welcome to the Rapport Advantage podcast, transforming the way leaders communicate. Here's your host, human behavior expert and professional speaker, Alex Swire-Clark.
Good morning, Rapport Advantage podcast listeners.
Oh, hey, Alex, that's a great opening.
Except that it's afternoon. I blew it. I blew it.
Well, there are going to be those listeners doing it this morning.
Yes.
You're right. That's right. They could be. Depends on when they're listening. So I'm saved. Right. Woohoo! Welcome to the show, everyone. The Rapport Advantage podcast. We're going to get serious now, professional. If you haven't listened to our podcast before, stop.
Shut up.
You should be listening all the time. But if you haven't, go back and listen to episodes 2 through 6. Episodes 2 through 6 will give you that DISC foundational knowledge, which is so critical to understanding what the heck Liz and I talk about on a daily basis. We are here to help you break down the walls of miscommunication, increase your emotional intelligence, and build better relationships in the workplace and beyond. Liz Parker is joining me today as usual. She is my fine, keep us out of the ditch professional person. I am the rogue, crazy person. Liz, how are you today?
I am very good, Alex. I've missed seeing you. It seems like it's been a whole week.
I know. It could have been a week or more, but that's a story for another day. Yes, we will not see each other at our normal meeting that we would have this week, which makes me sad, but you're going to be doing Vistage stuff. So what is that all about?
I am doing Vistage stuff. We have a economic summit going on over in Charlotte. So our CEOs are going over to that this week. So it's going to be very exciting.
Nice, nice. Do we know who's on the docket?
One of the guys from ITR Economics.
Ah, yeah. That's a good, big, giganto outfit that has lots of knowledge that I don't even remotely understand, because they'll start talking in the first 10 seconds. I'm like, okay, you said 3 things and I need to Google that. What was that again? Fiduciary responsibility. What?
Well, let's talk about the fact they might not adapt to each person's style when they do present. They do spend a lot of time in the high C mode.
Indeed, they do. So hopefully they will be able to get amongst these Ds and keep things fun and lively.
That's right. But you are actually going to be doing some other things with facilitation, are you not?
I am going to be doing some more meetings and speaking to folks around the D.C. area. I'm going to be heading up to D.C. and doing some talks for a couple of different businesses up there. I'll be flying out to L.A. and spending some time with some CEOs out there. So amongst in and around other things that are going on too. So lots of good positive activity. And thank you guys who are out there who are listening to us on a weekly basis and getting some golden nuggets. We appreciate that.
That's right.
This show is all about you, people. Give us your input and feedback. You can find us on Facebook at The Rapport Advantage, on Twitter at Rapport Podcast, or visit the website at rapportadvantage.com. Today's main topic, we're going to start the first of another 4-part series. You know, we'd like to do 4-part series here on the show. And
we love them.
We do, because we start with those Ds, go to I's, S's, and round it out with those C's. And we have basically 3 4-part series that we've got lined up for you that are focused totally on sales. So all you sales guys out there who have been saying, hey, Alex and Liz, the content's great. Can we have a little more sales stuff? So I already know how to work with my CEO. And so that's great. And so we have heard you. We are listening. And so we are going to do 3 4-part series on selling. And today we're going to start with talking about the driving forces behind a sale and how we sell to the various styles. So we've talked about reading styles. We've talked about how to determine whether someone is or not by email or by outfits that they wear or by their demonstrative or more reserved attitudes and things like that. So now, how do we sell to these particular styles? So we're selling to a high D on today's episode. And the driving forces for high D are pretty straightforward and are very similar to their personality style in terms of the things we've talked about before on, let's say, episode 3. The first one would be preparing your presentation for efficiency. We want to omit minor details. Don't get lost in the weeds. They don't need to know all the facts, but just be in and out. Be brief. Liz talks about it all the time. What's that term you used, Liz?
Be brief, be bright, and be gone. That part?
Yes.
What term?
I was talking about that professional brevity or thing that you talk about all the time.
Oh, yes. CEO brevity.
There you go.
Yes,
So
that's right.
So when you're selling to folks who are
the other.
Yeah, or yes. So I like be bright, be gone. That's great. When you're preparing that presentation, you know, you've got the 75 slides through there. No, you need about 25 slides max. Just get in, give them what the bottom line results are going to be. We'll talk about that later, and get out. Don't worry about the fluff. If they want to ask detailed questions later, they can do that, or they can bring in other people from their team to ask those detailed questions because they're just going to try and figure out that whole bottom line perspective.
That's right. And the second one is looking at flattering their ego. Now, this is one of those where you don't want to tell them you're flattering their ego because when you talk to them about it, they're like, I don't have an ego. I don't have an ego. But they do. High Ds have that ego. So you just have to find ways to compliment them on the decisions they've made, on looking at this particular path or decision they're headed for. And one of the areas in doing that is to concentrate on that immediate sale. Because as you're looking at their ego and talking with them about, not they're looking at their ego, but as you're talking to them and talking about their decision-making ability, being able to compliment them and say, you make decisions so nice and quick and crisp. And so let's look at what we have in front of us right now and let's close that thing today.
That's right. And when you're talking about the ego, we can talk about asking questions about their operation. So whether they're the VP of sales or if they're CEO, if you're asking questions about what they do and how they do it, oh man, they can talk all day because that's their baby. We started this department back in 97 and it's been running at plus 20% margins for the last 15 years. And we're pretty proud of that. And so you're again, that goes back to feeding the ego. So the way that you do that is ask questions about their success and let them tell you about that. It makes it very, very easy for them to like and trust you from that point.
That's right, which actually takes you to the third one, doesn't it? When you ask questions.
It does. So you're asking questions and you're making sure that you're getting the things out of them that you need, which are positivity about themselves. Oh, yes, I am the woman or the man. And yes, I did build this company from scratch with my bare fingers out of my garage for the last 15 years. But when you're doing that, one of the other key areas here is start with business. If they want to chat, they'll let you know that they want to chat. So stick to business right from square one. And if they want to take it off of that, they can do that. They can ask you about your family, whatever. But typically, high Ds want to get down to business and go. So leave the chit-chat, coffee talk for some other time. You could have done that in your setup when you're doing your rapport building, either via online or some other format.
And as you were talking about flattering the ego and asking them business questions, that's exactly where to start. Is just say, an opening question of, tell me about your business. But you have to be careful with that because some Ds will want to make sure you actually did some research about them first. So I think more effectively, it might be, tell me about the logistics in your business, or tell me about your supply chain, or tell me about something very specific where you could have researched. So it goes into the depth to actually tell them that you actually know something about their business.
Indeed. So you could start that question with, so I know you guys were founded back in 2007 and your biggest competitor right now is IBM. What challenges have they presented and how have you been able to take it to the next level? Because you guys have obviously done a great job. And so boom, you basically told them, hey, I know about your company, I know about your competitors, and I know that you've been successful despite those things. Tell me more about that.
That's right, which takes us into the fourth one exactly, which is ask the question so they can tell you about their operation.
Indeed.
It is extremely important for you to be able to just stay focused on that business piece. They will talk about it as long as they want, and it will be very clear when they're done.
Indeed, because it'll be that whole silence. You're like
right there.
Okay, I guess we're talking about more stuff then. And therefore, when you get into that dialogue, we get to step number 5 here, or not really step, but a thing to keep in mind, and that is to give direct answers. Don't beat around the bush too much. Don't start diving into facts or whatever. Try and stick to very short phrases that are very demonstrative in nature and very focused. Because if you do that, you're going to get that respect. We've talked about that DS dynamic before. So if you're a high S salesperson dealing with a D on the other side of that sale, they're going to want you to be forceful. They're going to want you to have an air about you. They're going to want you to be in that dominant mode. And if they push back and you don't push right back against them with something that's strong, then they're going to see that as weakness.
And I don't want to say that they actually lose their attention span, but they really do have such a short attention span in some cases that if you don't give them direct answers, they will totally be off into another world before you ever finish your answer. So that is one of the other reasons that you've got to keep those direct answers very, very short.
Yeah, can't get long-winded on a D or else they're Wait a minute. Maybe I should start another company. And then you've lost them.
That is, oh my gosh, that's a perfect visual. You should have seen him, you guys. His eyes were up, looking around. That's exactly what D's will do. So he imitated them very well. All right, here's my final one that I love. So I love presenting this one because when you're selling to a high D, you have to emphasize results and the bottom line. That is what they are all about. It's like, what are you going to give me? How is this going to work in my company? And how is it going to make me even look better? Not that they're flattering their ego, but they are thinking about that. They're trying to get the business results done. They're all about business results and making sure that bottom line is where it should be.
Indeed. So for me, when I speak on emotional intelligence to organizations, I'll come in and I'll say, what is emotional intelligence going to do for you as a high D? Well, here's what it's going to do. It's going to decrease that unproductive workplace conflict, and it's going to seriously increase employee retention. Is that going to help your bottom line? Well, you bet it is, because you're saving on training costs, rehiring costs, and placement costs, and all that kind of good stuff. Because you're going to have employees for longer. The culture is going to be there. They're going to be happier. It's going to be you're going to be voted one of the best places to work, which is going to feed more people, and da-da-da-da. And so all that leads down to bottom line results. And so that's what they're looking for. It's not, hey, well, let's come in, we're going to sing Kumbaya, and everyone's going to get along, and it's going to be great. I mean, that D will kick you out and throw your briefcase at your face when you're done.
That is exactly, there is no patience for them. I know that when I work with big Ds, as we will call them, and you're actually selling to them an idea, it is true. If you don't hit the bottom line, they will interrupt you and go, can you just tell me what exactly it's going to do for me? They don't care about all the stuff that somebody else does.
That's right. That's right. What is it going to do and what's it going to cost? Going back to our earlier podcast, they're answering that question, what? What? What's it going to cost? What's it going to do for me? What?
Good linkage, Alec.
Well, we try. We try really hard on the show. That's going to do it. We're going to keep these nice and short and brief. Liz, how can folks get in touch with you?
They can email me at liz@ltresults.com or go to my website at ltresults.com.
Excellent. You can always find us at rapportadvantage.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, the Rapport Advantage Podcast. There we'll post up all kinds of good questions, information, links to the show, and get your people involved so they can get some of this intelligence that's not just, hey, well, the boss man said I had to do it, but they start getting things that they can apply to their personal and professional lives, and that's always a treat. On our next podcast, we're going to talk about selling to our high eyes. That's selling to ourselves, so that ought to be interesting.
We have plenty of stories for that.
No.
Come on, Liz. We don't have any stories about that.
Shut up.
We have no idea about eyes. So until next time, we will see you later, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Rapport Advantage Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation on Facebook at The Rapport Advantage and follow us on Twitter at Rapport Podcast.